Hey, welcome to Radicalize Me. Today I'm reacting to the Majority Report talking about Tradwives and the division it's causing among conservatives. You absolutely love to see it.
I guess there's a little bit of a feud in right-wing media right now. The Daily Wire is in deep financial trouble. Candace Owens left them and is having a lot more success on her own.
Brett Cooper's also rebounded very quickly when she started her own independent channel.
Turns out that some of these major
Maybe you don't need the Ben Shapiro sauce.
or other networks, I mean, frankly, even TYT, what is being offered by being employed by these media online kind of conglomerates that they'll maybe take a cut of your YouTube revenue to optimize how your videos are going to come up, as was the case in the past with the Majority Report. But we're kind of past the point where that's really even necessary. And it's not.
Oh, what's wrong? Do conservatives not want their surplus labor value taken anymore? What's up? Is labor entitled to all it creates now? Is that what's happening?
Not entirely clear that that's effective in the way that it once was, or needed in the way that it once was.
Okay, so they're about to play a clip now from Megyn Kelly, who I guess wasn't from the Daily Wire, but she left Fox News when that was like the big game in town. So let's see what she says, because I guess conservative women aren't too happy about the way they're being treated and how conservative men are talking about them.
Made this post about Tradwives that really pissed off Matt Walsh.
Here's what's happening on the right. Young women, I talk to young conservative women all the time about their lives and their goals and, the things that they want. And
I'm sure
what's happening is they can't find men who are maybe more conservative. Usually they're looking for somebody who is religious, a lot of conservative women tend to be God-loving conservatives. And they can't find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. This is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad, because it's like, how did we get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work, if they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and get their voice out there. But
what do you mean, how did we get to this point? You were literally dogged by Trump himself and then his fucking fanboys back in 2016 during the Republican debates. I don't know if you remember this, when Trump literally made a fucking period joke about her because she challenged him a little bit.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs?
You could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
This is who they are. This is real, leopards ate my face type shit happening right now. And usually I advocate don't attack people who are reforming, who are coming out of the conservative movement. That's not what's happening here. She's as terrible as the rest of them, but now she's just being like, but I want to be terrible too and not have to play by the rules of the fucking evil club I'm in.
I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming. Well, why wouldn't we want that?
Oh, would they?
Why would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family. And not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually believing it, especially on the right, because the trad mom has gotten so popular. And it's like, no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women to provide.
They don't want that.
For younger.
They don't want that, Megyn. I'm sorry.
Conservative women who, and there's nothing to apologize for here, don't necessarily want to spend all their 20s and their 30s getting married and having kids, or can't. They just weren't able to meet somebody and definitely don't need to be shamed over it.
Oh, did you do that? I thought somebody did that to the clip that I pulled.
And the men in the audience are like, what the hell are you talking about? Can you stop bringing your woman business into our political commentary? Because we like you again, Megyn, now that you kind of came back to Trump land. You were, in 2016, you were bleeding out of your wherever. You were besmirching the good name of Roger Ailes by talking about his systemic sexual harassment in the workplace, including towards yourself, and being a little bit too mouthy, you dumb bitch. So let's get back.
When I first heard that, I was like, that's got to be an RM Brown sound drop. Just Emma saying, you dumb bitch.
To the Trump love. That's what we're all here for. And what we also love about Donald Trump is the fact that he enables guys like Andrew Tate and brings them back into the country. That he appoints guys like Pete Hegseth, who has a police report against him, although not proven in a court of law, but that the woman says that she was
Oh, does that matter again? Is that important to us again now?
drugged by him in the police report when she went to the nurse and talked about it, where she said that he blocked the door and took her phone and sexually assaulted her. And there have been other examples of these kinds of accusations being made towards countless people in the Trump orbit. They like that. In fact, it's ideologically consistent with the people that are coming up on the right in the manosphere space. They fit in very neatly together because they are one and the same. Like, I love how she just sometimes peeks her head out from this, because she's smart enough to understand that her side is misogynistic, but like, don't even bother, because this is they're gonna come at you, because if you're gonna be a Republican conservative influencer, Megan, just buy fully in. You're not going to be able to combat this tide because misogyny is inherent to their political project.
Yeah, and why is she worried about the next generation of conservative women? That's not a conservative value. Giving a fuck about kids and the next group of people to come after you. You got yours, Megan. So you can tell them to fuck off, right? Isn't that the great part about being a conservative and being rich?
Especially right now. But those comments made Matt Walsh, theocrat, Christian theocrat on staff, I should say, at the Daily Wire, who doesn't like the idea of this woman pushing back against the idea that men should want women that are in the home.
A man is not looking for a business partner. He's not looking for someone to provide for him. He wants a wife. He wants a mother for his future children. He wants a helpmate. He wants a...
Why was this recorded in like 1992? What the fuck is this video quality?
But what she's calling a trend, or what Megan says is just coming up, is in fact the norm. It's the way human society has been organized since the dawn of civilization.
For most of human history, we did not live this way, with the nuclear family as the basis of whatever, and capitalism and whatever fucking shit conservatives tell you is normal is super new. And a lot of it's really harmful.
The trend, the fad, the new thing, Megan, is feminism.
And I'll just say, like, this is historically absolutely not true. You look at, like, say, the 1800s, the thing wasn't, I just need to find the best helpmate to raise my kids. No, it's, which one of these broads has the richest father?
Yeah. What's the dowry situation?
Exactly.
Let's get down to brass tacks here.
Exactly right. And so, I mean, we can go back to it a little more.
You will notice that we're about a minute and 20 seconds in, and he has not mentioned what women want at all.
However you feel about career women who find their value and purpose in the working world, there's no question that they are the ones doing something new. Feminism sent women out of the home and
Okay, and?
into cubicles and boardrooms. Feminism can...
I'll just say, like, my great grandmother was part of people who, you look at, like, early organizing among, like, farmers and stuff like that, a lot of that is driven by women. And, you know, there's some sort of household chores issues that maybe men are out in the field, women are more, like, closer to the telephone, newly invented telephones and that sort of stuff. But the truth is that women's role in all this stuff has always been significant and then subsequently underplayed.
And also, but he's just describing capitalism. He's just describing, why do women have to work now?
So these people become Karl Marx when they're talking about women having jobs. He's going to say something even more like this in a sec, but it's always like, you know, why are women now working to make someone else rich? And it's like, well, bro, you know, you're doing that too, right? Like, you know, that men are doing that at their stupid jobs too. Human history is very varied. There's a big problem with people referring to things as like, this is human nature. This is against human nature. This is in our nature. And really, like, human nature, above anything else, is adaptability. Humans are extremely adaptable, and that is why we're successful as a species. And it also means that things don't fucking look the same everywhere and always.
Do you think that, like,
oh, right, yeah.
I mean, a lot of families would prefer to have a single income household.
Right.
You know, I think a lot of maybe women would maybe do part-time work or something like that in an ideal, or the man would do part-time work and the woman would work full-time, because childcare is so damn expensive that not having to pay for it is sometimes even more financially sensible for a family than having dual incomes, although that's a rarity these days. It's just kind of necessary. So you have to rely on things like family, friends, neighbors, because we don't have universal childcare in this country.
Yeah, because we don't have universal childcare, and because of the way society is set up now, we don't often live communally. Saying like relying on family. Well, I think that was very common in history, because again, humans lived very communally, and there's phrases like "it takes a village to raise a child," stuff like this. And you could look at that to mean like, well, there's the parents, but then the kid goes off to school, and the teachers and the administrators are taking care of them, and then maybe they have some after school thing, and they might spend some time at an aunt and uncle's or a grandparents or whatever, but really, like, that comes from a time where things were more communal, and now that things are not as communal, we could either encourage that way of life a little more, or since our way of life has changed, we can have universal childcare and that sort of thing.
Problem of capitalism, also because women's labor and labor in the home has never been prioritized by capitalism, even though that kind of labor of child rearing and of household care has been like, it's the bedrock of our society. Without it, it's very difficult for us to kind of create families, like, which is what they say they care about. The problem is capitalism, because two incomes sometimes can't sustain a family, let alone one.
Convinced many women to desire professional success over and above family and children, and now feminists are angry that men were not reprogrammed along with them. Okay?
Who's reprogrammed? This is insane. Like, you realize 100 years ago, women were fighting for the right to vote. And, well, 100 years ago, 105 years ago, really, is when women got the right to vote in the U.S., at least. And, we hear about these things like, oh, yeah, 1920, women got the right to vote. But it's not like it just happened that year. People were fighting for it way before that. Women want freedom and autonomy and options just as much as anyone else. We've just ignored them for centuries.
Okay? Men don't want what feminism is selling. You may think they should want it. You may want them to want it, but they don't.
White supremacists don't.
But we're in a bubble, right? The left is in a bubble. Meanwhile, you can be a fucking asshole like Matt Walsh, and, these people lie and whatever. But, like, I think a lot of conservatives live in this very isolated way, and that's why you hear so many stories of people moving away from conservative places and becoming a lot more open-minded and going, oh, I didn't know that, like, trans people weren't insane. I didn't know that, like, you didn't have to be this way if you're a woman and this way if you're a man. That's the way it is, because the human race, again, is a lot more adaptable and a lot more varied and interesting than conservatives want you to think.
Don't want what anti-racism is selling, although that's more about the extreme end of, like, white people. But yeah, no, it's a liberation philosophy for women and the dominant gender.
Matt Walsh wants to return to a society where women feel compelled to retreat into the safety of a couple bond because the world is too hostile to them.
Because having financial independence is a threat to small little men like Matt Walsh, who are afraid that a woman will leave them, so they need their economic power to lord over them and use other forms of domination. Not saying Matt Walsh does this, but many of the men he's speaking to likely do, whether it be sexually assaulting their wife, which wasn't a crime a few decades ago, whether it be just controlling her, say, if she's pregnant with twins, 8 months pregnant, and you're still making your wife go grocery shopping for you, and you get caught on a Ring camera disparaging her, and you don't give her a car. You only have one car for some reason, even though you're a multimillionaire conservative influencer.
They look out and they see that ever since the rise of feminism, divorce rates have skyrocketed, birth rates have plummeted, 60 million babies are dead, and most people...
just to do a little bit of...
this might be what Matt's about to say, but divorce rates haven't really skyrocketed. What happened is, much like, again, we hear this shit a lot from conservatives, but like, there's no, social contagion about kids being trans. It's when it's allowed, when it's not criminalized or shamed, trans people come out. When left-handed people are allowed to write with their left hand, left-handedness goes up. And the same thing when no-fault divorce was introduced 55, 60 years ago, at least nationally at that point. It was, maybe states had it, but whatever. Right. So it's the same way. Yeah, divorce rates went up at that point. As far as I know, hasn't really changed that much since then. But you know what else happened when no-fault divorce became legal nationally? Female suicide dropped by 20%.
What is it? The correlation does not equal causation thing. We could just go back to making it way harder legally for people to get divorces and make them stay in marriages make particularly the women stay in marriages with husbands they don't want to be in. Again, barbaric. And Matt Walsh is wrong to do that. And the type of men that listen to this and say like, yeah, I wish. Guess what, bro? You're never going back to 1950. It's never fucking coming back. Trump can try to move heaven and earth. It's not happening. You need to learn how to adapt to a new situation. And actually, there's a Wall Street Journal piece I want to get to after we finish. I mean, we're probably not going to finish this entire thing from Walsh, but just a little bit more.
Are, by every metric, much more miserable, and they don't want that. You cannot make them want it. And getting angry at them for not wanting it is, first of all, fruitless, second, arrogant, third, unfair, and fourth, foolish.
Well, that's an interesting thing to say, because I think maybe you're not recognizing that you can't make women want to be in relationships with shitty asshole men and not have jobs if they don't want to, and not have, their own social lives and friends and everything, and go do what the fuck they want sometimes. But really what I see is women doing what they want and men who now can't compete in the sexual marketplace getting all pissy about it. What's wrong, bro? You can't adapt to the fucking market?
Because these young men that Megan is referring to have an innate desire to be providers.
Innate. All right. So this is the other thing.
That's
the naturalization of hierarchy is the number one thing you need to be looking out for if you're analyzing Republican and conservative media. They naturalize inequality and they pretend like it was ordained by God that this is how things exist, as opposed to a series of choices that we make as a society and as a world. It's not natural. There's nothing natural about it. Matt Walsh claims that there's only two genders and that's all that's the only thing that's natural, completely ignoring the science on this front, which shows that something from like 1% to 2% of the population is intersex and has intersex traits. That blows a hole in the binary theory. Many times biological sex is binary, but in those instances it's not. So it can't be binary. But like, why would it be necessary for him to describe those things as binary? Because it reinforces the hierarchy of men over women, of straight white male patriarchs over LGBTQ people, over women, over black people. You also see them naturalizing racial hierarchies. That is how this...
Yeah, it's really like the unnatural thing happening is that we have a human civilization that has, again, for centuries, been trying to crush all of these desires out of people in favor of the hierarchies that Matt Walsh likes. Because, yeah, the fact is that, again, people say human nature is all these fucking things. But you know what human nature is? Being trans, being gay, being straight, sure, being a woman and wanting to have like your own identity as a woman and be independent as a woman. Our different races, ethnicities, haplotypes, whatever the fuck you call it, that we have different skin tones and different kind of features sometimes, and everyone looks a little different. Everyone has, different needs. That's human nature. And again, for centuries, we could call it 500 years, 600 years, 1,000 years, like somewhere around there, that Western society has been trying to force people into these fucking boxes, and it don't work, man.
Not especially interested in women who put their careers first. They want to provide. The desire to provide is a noble desire, even if many of these men will end up splitting the financial load with...
It sounds like you're not the provider anymore, man. Sorry. They want to provide. This is natural. Well, she's providing for herself. So what do you fucking want, man? If it was so natural, why is that just something that can happen?
With their wives in some way, still the desire to provide is noble, and it should be encouraged, not shamed.
It's
not
fucked.
sad. There's nothing sad here, Megan. These young men are experiencing a deep, ancient yearning, a yearning to leave.
And can I just say,
Oh, and by the way, when I make videos like this and I kind of let loose about how I feel on these things, I tend to get a lot of people in the comments. Saying I'm butthurt, I'm salty, I'm jealous, I'm this and that, I'm too mean, I have too much of an attitude. Go fuck yourself.
why they aren't able to go out into the marketplace and provide is not because women said, hey, let's do credit cards and stop raping me. It's because capitalism cannot provide what Matt Walsh says it can. It does not. It cannot provide rising living standards for everyone else. You know what can?
Yeah, the only time it did was when we fought tooth and nail against capitalism, and we had 90% top marginal tax rates. We had, the GI Bill and Social Security, and just a touch of central planning from the likes of FDR, So at the very least, you got to do that if you want this shit to work.
Central planning through a government. That's why China is.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry to step on Matt Leck's point.
And all this stuff. We can pretend like it's about regulation and not letting the people who pay Matt Walsh's salary, the billionaires, it's just like we're getting in their way. That's a lie as they strangle what was great about this country and repackage it into fundamentalism that would make fucking Thomas Jefferson blush.
Yeah. And again, notice that all that matters, which backs up exactly what we're saying, all that matters in his analysis is how men feel about feminism, not about how women feel about feminism. Right? Yeah.
Home and find a wife and become one flesh, as the scripture says, and then to have children and carry on their bloodline, and then to go back out into the world on a mission to provide for their family, thereby fulfilling their destiny as men. This desire is primal.
Wait, I'm sorry.
It is not a prime.
Where did he get a hold of
Manifest destiny
of my wedding vows that I'm writing right now? I mean, isn't this how normal people talk about one another? Hey, husband, I want to become one flesh and body with you.
Yeah.
Is that natural? As long as we're naturalizing things, is it natural to have that level of codependency with a partner? Because I don't know, maybe in his world, but perhaps not in this. Oh,
and by the way, I'll try to put this clip in. All these guys, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, the other Daily Wire guys, there's a great compilation of them all kind of bragging that they don't even know how to do housework because their wives just fucking do it for them. Which I'm sorry, is fucking pathetic. You're a grown-ass man. You don't know how to do laundry.
All right, Matt.
I hate them both equally, but I guess I would say I would rather do the dishes, but I'd prefer if she just did both of them.
Michael, to you.
Dishes. I'm not sure in our entire marriage if I've ever done a full load of laundry.
Drew?
I have not done anything around the house for 40 years.
You idiot. You asshole. You moron.
Insane part of this country.
I mean, this just reminds me of one of my friends got married to a Mormon guy. They were scandalized by the vows about submission to the husband that were there. And this is what Matt Walsh thinks is what he's selling to people, because those type of people who do subscribe to this ancient way of thinking, they do like to show up for their folks.
Am I weird? Like, I don't want a wife who has no thoughts in her head, has no desires. Someone doing all of the domestic labor, I guess, would be nice. I don't want to force someone to have that be their whole identity. One of the coolest things about having a partner is that you always have someone to talk to relate to bounce things off of. And on top of that, you don't want to be so codependent that you don't have your own stuff going on. She has her own work. She has things that she's striving for, and I have my own. And sometimes we come together, sometimes we do our own thing, and it's great. But yeah, this just I want someone just sitting at home and making bread loaves and taking care of children and never expressing any desires whatsoever. There's a great scene from I Love Lucy because I think she was kind of a housewife on the show, obviously Lucille Ball herself was out there like fucking making TV shows and shit. But she was kind of a housewife on the show. And there's a great scene where Ricky Ricardo comes home from work and he just wants to like read the paper and chill and whatever. And she is like desperate for conversation and like just someone, a human being to fucking like interact with. And he's just like not having it.
Ricky and I never get bored with each other. Oh, hi, dear.
Oh, hi, honey.
How'd things go at rehearsal today, dear?
Fine, fine.
I had a pretty interesting day today. Don't you want to hear about it?
Uh-huh.
And then this afternoon, Ethel and I had a bridge game, and we won. We won 25 cents. That's 12.5 cents apiece.
It's wonderful there.
There's this piece in the Wall Street Journal. I believe the article is called, it's an essay, American Women Are Giving Up on Marriage. And I saw it quoted by this guy, Dave, The Evening Glow. And his caption was, seems like a lot of young dudes are blowing it. This is just one section. For Alicia Jones, not having anyone else to financially depend on or split rent with is the worst part of being single. Especially with the threat of layoffs, it's just much more stressful being a single person. She said her last long-term relationship ended 2 years ago over conflicting views of the shared future. He wanted the white picket fence and me at home with the kids, Jones said. This despite the fact that her salary was nearly 50% higher than his. So that actually should be shamed. You fucked your life up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, because this sort of thing that you're sold by people like Matt Walsh that you need, that is innate, like, fine, get a job, go work, but don't depend on it for your life's happiness, that you are going to make more than your wife and she's going to be cloistered at home folding laundry or some shit. That is retrograde. You ruined your life with an idea.
It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy of empowerment and of masculinity that our society can't give you right now, unless you're in the 1%. And unless you want the kind of unfulfilling relationship that Matt Walsh is selling to you, because you're not.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to know what Matt Walsh's fucking marriage is like.
You're going to find spiritual happiness if you don't have an equal relationship with your partner where you're friends and confiding in one another, and equal in your partnership. You might not always be equal. There may be some times where the other one takes on more and the other one takes on more in 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, I just said,
a relationship and a marriage based on subjugation and domination and not fully understanding that person, we saw what that had led to. I mean, the 1950s were not great for women. They're the way that, I mean, just having to take like Quaaludes to get through the day.
Oh, that just made me think of the Rolling Stones song. There's a little yellow pill. She goes running for the shelter of her mother's little helper. And the female suicide rate dropped by 20% when we legalized no-fault divorce.
Level of alcoholism.
But when I ask AI what it looked like back then, all the pictures look so pretty.
I mean, we also would litter on the ground back in the day. None of those old AI photos show all the trash.
Oh yeah, and the smog in the air, like it was disgusting. I mean, like a city like New York or LA, like I'm sure just was a fucking nightmare. Which is insane too, because like I grew up in the 90s, and even then, like it wasn't weird for married couples to split things pretty equally. You know, my parents, and this is, I'm just one person, but like my parents fell into sort of traditional roles. My mom did a lot of the housework, took care of us, but my dad was home every night. He was home probably by like 7 p.m. every night. And he was involved with us. He showed up. He was present with us for dinners and homework and fucking, concerts. We didn't play a lot of sports in my house, but concerts and whatever activities we were doing. And they both worked. My mom had a career that she was very, very good at, and it worked pretty well. Now, they were both massively stressed out. I guess they didn't have to have 3 kids, but they wanted to. But regardless, they both had to work. But this is not such a new idea that it's like, oh, it's collapsing society. And it's like, no, man, people like Matt Walsh get on the mic and tell men, like, you don't have to fucking accept this shit from these broads, instead of growing and evolving and learning. Like, I'm sorry, women don't fucking like you anymore, man. Maybe you should do something about that.
Matt Walsh is saying to all the women in the country,
we need you to be mamala of the country.
Oh, this is actually just reminds me, I have this ready here. It's interesting.
Nurturing.
This is a good little clip from Some More News here, kind of on the same theme.
From school, I do not work. I do phone calls. I try to work out. I try to get everything done between the window 7:45 a.m. and 3:30 p.m., which is when they get out from school. Very often, I'm the one who picks them up from school. I do not work from the time they come up from school to the time they go to bed, which right now is about 7:30.
Yeah.
So that 4-hour period, I'm basically at their disposal.
I'd wager that during those 6 hours of his day with his kids, he's communicating, multitasking, nurturing, civilizing them. You know, gay women shit. Ben Shapiro's wife is a doctor. He used to brag about her all the time.
Yeah.
He's, of course, proud of his doctor wife. He was likely attracted to her partly because of her intelligence and abilities and tolerance of him as a person.
Yeah, what is does Matt Walsh yell at Ben Shapiro about this shit? It's like, oh man, you gotta fucking get a real housewife. Like, doctors are busy people. And Ben Shapiro, as fucking toxic and shitty as that dude is, seems fine with this arrangement.
I think it's safe to wager that he wouldn't actually agree with his wife being told at a young age, being a doctor is boy stuff. You can and should go be a mom instead.
Cody is brilliant.
Cody's great. Cody's great.
Condoms. Does everybody know what a condom is?
One other thing I wanted to say about the Tradwife phenomenon is that it's a lie. This is based on several TikTok trends, things that have kind of been memed about on the internet and shit. And they're influencers who have become very well known for being tradwives. And they make these videos. They say, I'll try to put a clip here, but they make these videos and they're like, look, I'm so happy being a tradwife. And they like wear a fucking dress and they're like, look, I'm making food for my fucking husband. And the husband comes home and she's like, now I'm going to fucking say hello to my husband. And it's like the dumbest shit you've ever seen. And the thing that seems to be missed about this is that you're watching someone who is not a tradwife. You're watching someone who has a career as a fucking influencer on the internet who's going around telling people to be tradwives. If you were a tradwife, you'd be doing tradwife shit without the camera. Well, once again, I would just like to say to anyone who has a problem with my attitude or my saltiness or anything like that, you can suck me from the back. Thanks for watching. That's it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.